Everyone, welcome in today for which episode of the Pod Ones podcast is this? I feel like it's been like episode
37. It's
37.
37.
Okay.
On the TikTok, I
37.
messed it up. I
Okay.
messed it
Episode
up on the
37
TikTok.
of the Pod Ones podcast. I am myself, Char J, joined by my co-host Luke over here.
What's going on?
And today we got some good episodes. So we are finishing up season 3 of the Clone Wars, episodes 21 and 22, aka the Trandoshan arc, the Ahsoka captured arc, whatever you'd like to call it. We got some good guests today, so sit back, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's dive in.
You never would have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan, but you might make it as mine.
And we're back. We did the same thing. That was pretty cool.
I know. I saw
Yeah.
you on the right-hand corner, so I thought I would do it.
Okay,
Anyway.
so we are going to bring our returning guest. I'm not sure if one of our guests has like been on before or not, or is she relatively new?
No, yep, she's relatively new. She
Okay,
will be
so
last.
we will bring in our returning guests first, as we always do. Our first guest is Chase at Forward Into the Black.
Hello.
Hello.
Chase, how's it going?
Oh, it's not too bad. I ate froyo on a bike today. That was an exciting adventure.
There you
ate
go.
froyo on a bike?
I ate froyo on a
That's
bike.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Nice. Chase, where can the good people find your awesome content?
You can find my awesome content on TikTok. I almost said .com. You can find my content on TikTok at Forward Into the Black. I'm also on Twitch hosting the Rogue Council podcast. We will be on this Sunday talking about the side characters of Star Wars. So your Han Solos, your Leias, your Obi-Wans, your Boba Fett's, all of them, every single one of them.
I do like some Boba Fett.
Boba Fett's pretty
Boba
good.
Fett.
And we'll be joined
Boba
by
Fett.
Darth Chaco, as well as not a Kyber or Alanis, and my co-host David Xanatos1138 will be there as well. So check it out.
Nice. Definitely
Awesome.
go check it out. It's really good.
And then our second guest today, our second returning guest, will be Carter at Car2D2.
Hey yo, what's up?
Oh my god.
Hey, I saw Luke with the hat on backwards, and I saw Char with the hat forwards. I was like, I always wear the hat forward.
Yes.
I'm gonna go
Yes.
That's my
backwards.
thing. I
Wait,
always wear my hat
yes,
like this.
yes. I love this arrangement because now it's backwards hat, forwards hat. I love this. I love this dynamic.
Yeah.
But Carter, where can the good people follow you on the social medias?
Well, first I didn't eat froyo on a bike, so I'm not as cool as Chase. But yeah, you can find me on TikTok at Car2D2. I post random stuff there, and I have my own podcast. It's called They Fly Now. We are live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And next week, we're talking about behind the scenes facts, which is something like personally I actually really like, is a lot of the behind the scenes Star Wars and like old timey Star Wars. What's the word?
Behind the scenes.
Antiques. Like old antique. No. Seriously, like old antiques and old like cards and action figures and merchandise like that I like really enjoy talking about. So yeah, you can find me there, and I think that's about it. This is a really great arc. I think it's a super underrated arc, and I'm excited to talk about it.
I think it's a very underrated arc as well. And our
Yep.
third and final guest, which is a new member of the Pod Ones podcast family, we bring in Shannon.
Shannon,
Hi.
nice to have you on. Same question as everybody
It's good
else.
to be here. My name is Shannon. I don't have any other social medias to plug, but my TikTok is at DarthKiss. I'm kind of an enigma like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we usually like to start off with an icebreaker question. The icebreaker question for today's episode, since it is Ahsoka centered, what is your favorite moment from all of canon that involves Ahsoka Tano?
Out of all of the canon, I think that this is probably a common answer, but season 7, episode 10 of the Clone Wars, when she has her fight with Darth Maul.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think that was just really well done. The music is amazing for that, and I love how sassy she gets, and you can really tell that she was trained by Anakin by like her little comments and like, oh, if Anakin was here, you'd be done. And the way that they portray Darth Maul and both of their fighting styles is like really well done.
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good one. Carter?
Can I go 2 moments?
That's fine. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
go. I'll allow you 2 moments.
All right. One, because I know you. Okay. Rebel spoiler. I mean, you guys have probably seen it. We're past the 48-hour mark, so I think we're good. The I am no Jedi is incredible. I like that moment. Oh, it literally gets me tearing up every time I watch it. I got that, and then I got. This might be recency bias because I've been like obsessed over this scene the past like week. But it's a scene in the World Between Worlds, and Ezra and Kanan, or Ezra and Ahsoka are talking, and Ezra's. I'm a big Ezra fan, so like anything like with Ezra, like I love him, but it's a scene, and Ezra's watching through the portal Kanan's death, and Ahsoka says to him, because she tells him to like forget his master, and Ezra says, "You don't know what you're asking me to do," and Ahsoka says, "Yes, I do. You can't save your master, just like how I can't save mine." And like, instant chills every time. It shows how much Ahsoka's character has came along. Like, it's amazing. I absolutely love that scene.
Those are 2 really good Ahsoka moments, and obviously it doesn't go past us that they were both rebels, so that's interesting.
Yeah, like
it shouldn't be too surprised, right?
Yeah, it's just like that. Oh, and she's just like, "You can't save your master, just like how I can't save mine." It's like, damn.
No, yeah.
But yeah.
Jace, same question.
I'm gonna pull a Carter. Part A, real short. When she's in jail with Trace and her sister, and they telling her the story of like how the Jedi killed her family, and just like Ahsoka's like sheer dread of like, oh my god, like I was right, and also I still can't believe this. But every moment that Terra Sanube dunks on her,
Yes.
and lightsaber lost, just like nonstop, just like dunks on her super hard. But he's so humble about it. It's like, oh yeah, you're not really good at this, but that's okay. You'll learn.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's a good one. Char, what's your favorite moment of
Favorite
Ahsoka?
like of Ahsoka? I would probably say the moment when she leaves the Jedi Order. I know it's very emotional, but that's like one of the cornerstone moments of her character as a whole is when she decides to leave the Order. So it's very emotional, but it's it changes her character throughout the course of everything after the prequel trilogy. So I would have to say it was her leaving the Order.
No, yeah, that's an interesting one. I would have to go with Shannon's pick. The battle between her and Darth Maul, and her just acting so much like Anakin, but also having like the mindset of Obi-Wan as well. I mean, I would take a lot. I would kind of agree with the entire panel. Those are all really, really good Ahsoka moments. But I still think the best Ahsoka moment is at the end of this arc because of the message that it sends to Anakin and like the really growing relationship that they get from the end of this arc. But now that we have gotten out of the way of introductions, icebreaker, let's go to the chat. Hi, Sam. Brian Patrick Stoley. Go follow him. He is a great follow on TikTok. And then Escape Reality Films. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Now, Char.
Is it ready for the plot summary?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we dive into season 3, episode 21, titled Padawan Lost. 3, 2, 1. Turmoil in the Outer Rim. Located near a major hyperspace lane, the planet Felucia is caught in an unending battle between Republic and Separatist forces. Clone tank divisions make a valiant push deep into Separatist-controlled territory, led by Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan Ahsoka Tano. General Grievous, learning of the impending Jedi attack, has dispatched reinforcements to one of his droid outposts, hoping to secure his grip on the system.
Nice. You didn't stumble at all on that. That was really great.
pretty
I'm
flawless.
getting better
I'm
at
not
that. I'm getting
gonna
better
lie.
at that.
That was really, really well done.
And you had to
Char.
say impendent, like That's a pretty big word.
That's a big word.
It's true,
Big
it's
words.
true.
So Char, you want to take the first part of this?
Sure, why not? So we begin on the episode. It's so there's a fight on Felucia, of course, and the Republic are trying to infiltrate a bunker on Felucia, and we see something going on with Ahsoka. Like she's like sensing something, but she isn't too sure what it is. And then we see Anakin, 501st, and the 104th under the command of Plo Koon, help them try to take down that bunker on Felucia. So while you see a bunch of these reinforcements coming, a bunch of dwarf spider droids, Anakin just mows them down, and Plo's bros are just coming in with jetpacks, and it's a whole bunch of craziness. But once that's taken care of, and once that's over with, Ahsoka, from a Trandoshan hiding in the trees, shoots her in an electro web, and basically just traps her and takes her. So that's where this whole entire arc kicks off at. And so once we see the cargo ship that the Trandoshans have, you notice that there are more than just Ahsoka on the ship. The Trandoshans are holding a bunch of people hostage, and they're literally hunting them down for sport. They take them to the moon of Waska, which is, right, the moon from Dosha, which is the home planet of Trandoshans. And they send them out of their cargo bay, and they kill them. So I just wanted to know everyone's thoughts on the Trandoshans from this episode compared from what we've seen in prior Star Wars media. Like if we were to compare Bosk to the Trandoshans we see in this arc. I'll go first, and I'll start with Chase.
Yeah, it's something, maybe it's not just to this episode entirely, but just kind of like Star Wars as a whole. We always see the Trandoshans as this villainous species. Like our first real look into it is Bosk from Empire. And then basically we see a little bit more of it here. And then we now have Book of Boba Fett, where they're still not good. I think Star Wars: The Old Republic has the only nice Trandoshan that like exists in Star Wars.
High Republic Skier.
No, you're forgetting about Sid too. You have to give some credit to
and
Sid.
Sid. Yeah.
And Sid, yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, by and large,
there's very few of them. There's very few.
Yeah, there's very few.
Nice. I've always really liked the Trandoshans, but I think this like. Keep in mind, I just finished all of Clone Wars like 3 days ago.
That's awesome.
So a lot of this is still really fresh, but it gives me like this whole arc alone just gives me like Hunger Game vibes, like a lot of those like crazy rich hunter, like hunt people for sport, like type films and stuff like that. But I got the whole vibe from this arc, and then when we watched it all together, I'm like, yeah, this is like a lot of fiction has come out recently that kind of follows this trope that this whole arc kind of like set up. So I think it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. And Shannon, Carter, whoever wants to whoever wants to answer the question first.
You can go first, Shannon.
What was the question? What was the question again?
So the question was, what were your thoughts on the Trandoshans in this arc compared to the ones we've seen in prior Star Wars media, whether it be from the novels, Empire Strikes Back with Bosk, just comparing the two.
Yeah, well, just like Luke said, I also like noted that Skier was also a Trandoshan that was a Jedi in the High Republic. So I feel like as a race, they kind of have a certain type of reputation, especially even in the High Republic comics. They do this kind of like fake out in the first issue where they portray Skier as like, oh, he's the bad guy. But then you find out that he's actually a Jedi Master. And that's like the kind of the plot twist at the beginning of the issue. So I think that they definitely have like a certain type of reputation. And I think that that reputation is kind of upheld like during the arc. but definitely we see examples of like Transoceans that aren't aligned with the certain reputation that we see here either.
No, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's
very good
definitely
answer.
true. That's definitely true.
Yeah, it depends on like how you see the Trandoshans. Like depending on what era, what type of person they are, like whether or not they're like getting paid to do a task or if they're very common folk. But I don't know, Carter. What's your response?
Yeah, I would agree with the panel, and I think something interesting to note with Skier is that they do like try to fake us out, but he's still very ruthless. He's still on more the ruthless edge of Jedi throughout the High Republic comic. So even though he is a Jedi, he's still a bit more rowdy than your average Jedi. But yeah, I think throughout Star Wars, like Trandoshans are just ruthless slavers, and I think this arc completely like just nails that in the coffin. And what Chase was saying about this kind of being Hunger Games vibes, this is like a parallel to The Most Dangerous Game. If you guys have read that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I read that.
It actually is a
Actually,
fact that this episode
yeah.
was inspired by the 1920s Most Dangerous Game. So
Yeah, which is really cool. So I remember like watching it for the first time. I was like, this is exactly like it. It's literally the same exact thing except like Star Wars. So I think that's really cool. I love whenever Star Wars takes inspiration from different sorts of media, especially media that I have like read or whatever. I think it's kind of something that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of all I got there.
yeah, very good responses. And then once that happens with when we see them get released out of the ship and they're all shot down except for Ahsoka, fortunately, she's able to survive and she runs into 3 former Jedi younglings. They were captured and then they were sent there. And I'm not gonna lie, I pointed this out when Luke and I were rewatching this. That one Twi'lek youngling reminds me a lot of Loading Greatstorm.
Yeah.
I was literally gonna say that. I was
Yeah.
literally gonna say that whenever I was watching it.
Like the way he has his headpiece and like the way his head is shaped, he looks just like a younger Loading Greatstorm. And it's it's super cool that I made that connection there. And then once Ahsoka meets with the group of younglings and they try to figure out like what they're gonna do and how they plan on to survive, we see Anakin. And Anakin, throughout this whole entire arc, he's punching himself in the gut, being like, I'm the one that's responsible for Ahsoka getting captured. I'm the one that feels bad. I should have protected her. And so there's a bunch of emotion just flowing through him. And we've seen this a lot through Anakin. And that's the typical Anakin character. If he fails someone, that burden is all on him and he can't forgive himself unless that person that was the victim can do that. And then we see that for a little bit, very briefly, and then we go back to the Trandoshans. And the leader, we see like this, like a kind of like an office room, kind of like a lair. And the leader of the Trandoshans, I'm forgetting his name, Luke. Do you by chance know the leader of the Trandoshan gang's name?
I can never even remember it. No.
I know Trandoshans have some pretty, pretty fancy names, but one little Easter egg that I noticed is that his throne has a giant wampa on the back of it, like a kind of like like those tiger rugs, but it's like wrapped around the chair, and I'm like, well, wampas aren't that easy to take down, so and just like looking at the episode and just watching Ahsoka, I'm the Khalifa, I'm forgetting the Twi'lek's name, and the Syrian's name. How long would you guys last being in their position while getting hunted by the Trandoshans? Carter, since you were last to respond to the last question, I will start with you.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think there's a few things to note there, like because you kind of like you did that whole chunk of the episode. I think something to note is that Plo Koon tells Anakin to let it go, and Anakin immediately after Plo turns away, Anakin's like, Rex, boot up the ship, we're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something interesting to note. Another thing is whenever Ahsoka is like right when she gets with the Padawans, she doesn't fully trust them. And they like they tell her like, if you want to survive, you have to listen to us. So like Ahsoka like has to learn to kind of get over that hump of like not being able to trust them because she doesn't necessarily know them,
Mm-hmm.
and she must almost like learn from the other Padawans the same way that she learns from Anakin.
Oh yeah.
And then what was the question?
Oh, the question
long?
was, how long would you survive being in their position while getting hunted by all those Trandoshans?
Oh yeah.
I'm relatively small. I think that could come to my advantage.
You think that helps with the evasion? Maybe.
I'm like 5'6.5", maybe sometimes round up to 5'7" if on a good day. So
So to say, like, if it would
it's
be
hard to say because I don't know the Force either.
maybe hours, minutes,
Oh.
days, even if you're that hardcore.
I'm gonna say 2 days.
You know, that's not bad. I mean, being relatively brought into that area, like,
Yeah,
2
because I
days.
feel like I would try to like hide in a tree or something like that, but I feel like they would find me still because they're
Yeah,
sent. and
the
stuff
thing
like
is,
that.
you wouldn't want to be in a tree for 2 days.
Yeah. Well, if it's life or death, and I knew that I was gonna get out. If I knew I was gonna get out on the second or third day,
Yeah, you'll be like Venom at the end of the, or that scene in the very first one where he's just sitting up in the trees to hide
Yeah.
from Drake's forces. But
no,
Shannon,
exactly, yeah.
Shannon, how long would you survive being hunted by all those Trandoshans?
I'm gonna say probably like a solid 10 minutes. I'm not very fast and I'm not very strong. And wittiness doesn't really come into handy in that kind of sense. I'm also kind of a pushover, so I don't have the same type of like vigor that Ahsoka has. When she's like, no, we really have to like do this, I would just kind of be, as soon as somebody tells me I'm wrong, I'm like, okay, and then I would probably just die along with everyone else. So I'm gonna say maybe like 10 minutes. If I'm generous, maybe 20.
Or maybe if the Trandoshans are generous, or maybe one's very, very, doesn't know how to use a weapon correctly.
I mean, maybe I could just like charm them.
Maybe he has severe allergies. He's just sneezing up a storm. He's like, oh. Yeah, 10 minutes. I think I would last maybe less than that. But Chase, how long would you last against those Trandoshans?
Years.
What would you have? Like, how would you get all those resources?
It would be my game. I would just be hunting them whenever they came out.
So instead of you playing their game, you're going to be playing.
Oh yeah, it's like,
they're
oh
gonna be
yeah,
playing your
we
game.
captured this one person, and we don't know where they went, and sometimes they don't come back from their runs.
Wow, man.
Jeez, I'm kind of curious to see like what planning would go into that. Like, okay, yeah, we're gonna have an outpost right here. We're gonna have men over here, and then we're gonna get all these drop offs, like a place to for some reinforcements.
So are
I
you?
would- I would give up my whole life and just become a feral monster that lurks.
Here's a real question. You throw all of us on the planet.
Ooh,
Who is the last alive?
I'd say Chase.
Well, no, I'd say Chase.
I'd say Chase.
I feel like
He's
Chase
very
needs-
resourceful. The
needs
real
to be
question
real.
is who's the first one to die?
Either me or
I get
Shannon,
thrown
'cause,
under the bus.
her and I like agreed that like we would last the shortest amount of time.
Luke, it would be you.
It probably would be.
No, I feel like I feel like you would last a long time.
Would I though?
That's what she
You
said.
see, here's the thing: they're
Oh
Trandoshans.
my
They're
god.
Trandoshans.
It was there.
And I'm a pretty tall dude, so like I'm an easy
That is
you
true.
could see me really easily.
Yeah.
Like if I have to hide somewhere, where am I gonna hide?
Yeah, and do we get like? There's a lot of variables that can play into this question. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
do we get a head start? Are they going to be shooting us right as we step on the ground?
Oh yeah, just like how they got off the ship. Yeah.
Yeah. No
That's
doubt.
tough.
Yeah.
Char, how long do you think you would last?
Me? Oh, I said less than Shannon. I'd say less than 10 minutes. I feel like I'd be one of those people that would get shot right off the break.
If I
Like-
was if I was in the shape that I was in high school, I'd maybe last 15 minutes. I'd last 5 more minutes longer than you guys. I'd give myself 5 more minutes.
It's okay. Shannon and I will die with honor.
Yeah.
For
For the
later.
Republic. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay. So, all right. So the younglings realize that Ahsoka is the missing link to survive the whole ordeal. Ahsoka. The interesting thing about this part is that Ahsoka is like, "Why haven't you guys like tried to escape?" And they are basically like, "Well, we literally can't." Like
You're
they're
you're
like,
you're,
they,
s- you're skipping a little bit.
"Oh, am I?
Yeah, just a little bit. Not too
Oh,
much,
that's
though.
right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right." Char, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, I'll go up to where you were continuing off of. So the Padawans, we've heard that the Padawans, the younglings, have been on the planet for a long time. Like they've been there for quite a bit, and they know the area. They know where and where not to go. So they inform Ahsoka, and that this place is very dangerous. And Ahsoka's very optimistic, and that she knows that she'll get out of there. And the younglings say something that's pretty terrifying. They say hope is a dangerous thing to have, and it's this makes you want to love Wookiees because Trandoshan Wookiee rivalries, and
Mhm.
this arc makes you hate Trandoshans. Like they are menacing, they're scary, they are ruthless. Like it's just, everything that goes into this requires so much planning between the younglings and Ahsoka, and at one point they are trying to find a way to to infiltrate them, and Khalifa, the young human female, force chokes a Trandoshan, and Luke had a good question of this. For those of you who have played Force Unleashed, is she based on the Jedi Apprentice from Force Unleashed or Force Unleashed? Because she has that exact same hairstyle. I don't know if you've caught that or not, but
If y'all have played that game. Real quick, Nidra. Yes, we did. Somebody did say Wookiees, and we will be getting to Wookiee talk. Fellow Santi fan, Santi simp, I appreciate
I
it.
did say Wookiees, but that'll be in the next upcoming
in a
episode.
little bit, like 10, 15 minutes.
Not like the Pod Ones episode, but like episode for the arc.
Yeah. No, but have y'all played The Force Unleashed?
Long time ago when it first came out, yeah. I could totally see it because we see this like abandonment of like the Jedi ways from Khalifa.
Yes.
And like not necessarily like like fully moved over to the dark side, but like she's fighting for her life every waking moment, and she's just doing everything she can to stay alive, and this is all she knows. So yeah, I think it's I think there's a parallel. Is it like a 1-for-1? Like they're like, oh yeah, let's use the character from Force Unleashed. I don't know. I would assume no.
Yeah. I just found it interesting because it's very much like they based her off of that. Carter, have you played that? Have you played Force Unleashed?
I have Force Unleashed 2, but I have not played it.
Have you played the first one?
No.
No. Okay. So basically this character that I was referencing is, so in the game Shaak Ti is still alive. So this is Legends. So obviously that's not canon. But she has this humanoid Padawan, and once Shaak Ti dies by Starkiller, she turns to the dark side, which turns the Felucians, the inhabitants all to the dark side. But it's very, very interesting on how they like made Khalifa look and kind of seem like her, and that's what I got from. That's why I asked the question, because I think it was so similar though. But but
And then Luke, go ahead and continue from where you last left off.
Yep,
because
sorry, I got a little ahead of myself.
Khalifa, does her thing with the Trandoshan, Ahsoka tells her to, don't do that. That's not the Jedi way.
Yes.
And and so forth. And then Luke.
The younglings take her to their basically their
hideout.
Their hideout.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's asking all these questions like why haven't you guys tried to get off the planet? Like what's going on? And they were like, well, they just outmatch us. We don't have that the strength or numbers. But then they start to realize, well, you're a Padawan, you can get us out of this, and it's kind of like their missing link, and there's their hope. Ahsoka has a nightmare of the Trandoshans where she sees something of a ritual with the leader holding another's face. What was your reaction to the nightmare? Anybody can answer this.
I didn't have too much of a reaction. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely like we're starting to see like in this season moving forward, right? Like a lot of force visions and dreams kind of taking place, and I think what despite my opinions on certain episodes within this
Mortis.
yeah, that one. That's not very good. I think it's interesting how they start to tie everything together because everyone's starting to realize that we see it with Yoda, we see it with Ahsoka, we see it a lot with Anakin, of them just kind of seeing what's to come. And what I think this show does really well is it's just little bit by little bit from basically this point on, and it just gets increasingly more intense. And so I think this is just another one of those where it's just like it's not necessarily in direct correlation to what's going to happen in Revenge of the Sith, but it is leading everything kind of leading up to that, and everyone kind of getting they have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, what's more like iconically Star Wars than having a nightmare or a vision?
Yep.
That's the whole point.
Exactly.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's true. It's like if you don't have a force vision, then what are you doing? You know what I mean?
That's what all the cool kids are doing.
Yeah, that's true. So Ahsoka is able to handle her own against a full. So they go back out the next day. They run into yet another Trandoshan. She takes on a grown man Trandoshan and like
Kicks the crap out of
kicks the ever living crap out of
him. He
him.
gets
Just,
stabbed. It's awesome.
dude, yeah, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense and pretty great. Shortly after, Khalifa gets shot and later killed by the Trandoshan leader. And he is enraged because the Trandoshan Ahsoka killed was his son. So now we have that struggle of the Trandoshans now have really something to prove on this hunt. Not only are they going after the Jedi for sport now, but they're going after blood because they have killed one of their own. What were your thoughts on the dialogue between Khalifa and Ahsoka while she was dying?
Sad, man. Like, that scene hit pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. Like, her dying in Ahsoka's arms it's some brutal stuff. Like, that whole scene, people are always like, Clone Wars isn't a kid's show. That whole kind of scene, like, when that Trandoshan gets literally impaled,
Yeah.
and then immediately after Khalifa dies in Ahsoka's arms, then Ahsoka has to report back to the camp that Khalifa's not there because she died.
Ooh,
Like,
it's
that's
rough.
that's some brutal stuff. Like, it hits hard. It hits hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you also bring into the fact that like she was the one who motivated Khalifa to even take action in the first place. So I can only imagine that Ahsoka feels like some sort of responsibility for that. And then also their conversation, like right before she dies, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's okay. I'll take you with me. Like, we'll keep fighting. And then I think Ahsoka realizes that like it's way too late and she really can't do anything. And like this has to be how it ends. So that's always really sad. You have to make that decision.
I think something real quick before, or Chase. Actually, you go, Chase. You go.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
I was just gonna say, I think it's really interesting how whenever she does report back and she says that Khalifa dies, Ahsoka immediately takes charge, and I think that is a direct learning from Anakin. Like, she immediately says, "Okay, Khalifa's gone. It's my turn now. I have to be in charge of everyone, and now I have to be the one that's gonna make these plans." So I just think that's very interesting, and it shows that how well Anakin has taught her up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, kind of like in the overarching process of the show, I think this is one of the first arcs where we get weight to the events that are going on. I feel like Khalifa's death is like one of the lots of people have died in this show already at this point, but I think this is like the first one where it's like, oh, like Carter, like you said, you saw like a Trandoshan with like a giant thorn or tree stump through his chest, and then you have Khalifa being shot, like a character you don't expect to be shot goes away. And I think, again, kind of like bouncing off of what you said, is she can let go of this. Like, she understands that, you know, she can't have this attachment to this person, even though she feels like she has failed this person. Where this is where she's starting to deviate from Anakin. Of she can go with the Jedi teachings of like, you cannot have these attachments that will, because like if she has this attachment the way that Anakin would have had towards someone like Khalifa, that could have ended up in more people dying. And Ahsoka doesn't have this, and this is where she passes Anakin as a Jedi.
No, that's so true. That's absolutely true. Nidra makes a good point. She says, I don't know if I'd give Anakin credit for that, LOL. Nidra also says Anakin's not like known for handling loss well. That's very, very true. That's very, very true, Nidra.
Well, I didn't mean necessarily that. I just meant the leading.
No, yeah.
Like, I would say, I don't really like Anakin that much, but I would say he's a pretty good leader.
Yeah. No, like no, that's a fair comparison. I mean, there are times where Anakin does make the mistakes where Ahsoka kind of learns from his example and kind of takes it and goes, this is what not to do, you know? And we see that very much throughout her entire journey throughout the Clone Wars and even into Rebels as well. So that's interesting. That is a good point. Shannon, Char, got anything to add on that?
I do not. I don't.
Nice.
I don't.
All right.
Yeah. I think like going off of what you just said, like the you can see like the influence that Anakin's had on her, but I also feel like you can see the influence that Obi-Wan has had on her too, in those kinds of moments where she has to make those kinds of decisions.
Absolutely. And I mean, think about it this way: her experiences on Felucia have not been great. First, she gets in trouble for not following orders, and then she gets kidnapped from Trandoshan. So, Ahsoka, stay away from Felucia. It's not a great planet for you. So then we cut back to the Jedi Temple. Actually, the Jedi meeting room, the war room, as they'd like to call it. Anakin and Plo Koon begin to speak. Plo asks Anakin if Ahsoka is a worthy enough apprentice. Anakin says that no one has her kind of determination and wants to find her. Plo responds with, "If you trained her well, she will take care of herself." And then we get a nice little shot of Anakin looking at the entire galaxy. So that's interesting. I love that type of stuff. And that's where this episode ends. Char, plot summary for
season 3, episode 22, the final episode of season 3, titled Wookiee Hunt.
Nice.
You guys ready?
Yes.
I've been ready my whole life for this moment.
Oh God! All right, ready. Jedi abducted. Ahsoka Tano is missing in action. Captured and released into a hostile jungle, she fights to stay alive with the help of a small band of Jedi younglings. As Anakin Skywalker scours the galaxy, desperate to find his lost apprentice, Trandoshan sport hunters track their youngling prey. With the death of their leader Khalifa and separated from her friends, we find Ahsoka on the run as the hunters close in around her.
Nice,
Char.
No mistakes. You got this.
Nice.
I would
job.
give it an 8.92.
Knowing Harith, if he was in here, he'd be like 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
You know what? He is
Harith
our
would.
he is our harshest critic, but I respect that.
He's the Anton.
He's an
Ego of the
extremely
Pop One
harsh critic.
podcast.
I
There'll be-
respect it.
There'll be times like, man, like he's harsh, but it's good sometimes.
No, yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so the beginning of episode 22, Wookiee Hunt. So the episode begins with the Trandoshans, of course, searching for Ahsoka, and we get a subtle sound of Ahsoka's theme as she comes back to the camp, like Luke noticed that right away. It took me like a couple of seconds to really realize it. I was like, wait. Well done, Kevin Kiner.
Well, yeah, and you also see Morai.
Yeah.
You also see the well, not Morai, but like one of the birds that she ends up turning into later on, the species off into the left-hand side as she goes back in.
I
But
think those are the same ones that they were seen in the Zygerian arc.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, they are. There's a lot of obviously Dave Filoni loves that type of bird, and he puts it in anything that he can. So
Those birds are so
there's
cute.
that. They are.
I love them.
They are very cute. But yeah, keep going, Char.
And then, so the plan between the Serene, the Twi'lek, and Ahsoka is that they attack the dropship head on because they know that the headquarters is, well reinforced. So why not go at the ship head on and try to go at the source of the problem and how they got there? So the Serene and the Twi'lek attack one Trandoshan that's on the surface, and Ahsoka takes out the pilot of the ship. And so I just wanted to know what was everyone's thoughts on how the younglings handled the Trandoshan they were against, because Ahsoka relatively took out the pilot really easily, but how the Serene and the Twi'lek worked together to take him out. We'll start with Carter.
I thought they did a really good job. I think throughout this arc, they continue to have a good
game plan,
a good game plan for everything. I think this is no different. I like how he had to kick the Trandoshan off. You just kind of saw him fall to his death. I thought that was
yeah,
kind of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And yeah, that's about it.
Anyone else? Anyone's thoughts on how the younglings handled the Trandoshan on the ship?
I think they handled it really well, and I think that the coolest part, the one that was most notable to me, was when one of the younglings, I can't remember which one, but one of the younglings goes to kick the Trandoshan, and the other one uses the Force to push them harder into the kick. And I think that was the coolest part, because I remember watching that and being like, "Oh, that's sick."
No, yeah. You can definitely tell their teamwork is even though Ahsoka hasn't been there for very long, you can kind of tell yes, they've been through it, especially after losing Khalifa, but it's given them more hope, and their game plans are starting to work better. They're starting to work as a cohesive team to get off the planet. Chase, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of tie in the end of the last episode into this, but I think what's interesting is you see how resourceful these kids are. Like you said, they're using the Force to double the strength of their attacks, basically. And all it took was a good mentor, and that was Ahsoka. And she kind of helped them and guided them into that way. But also, in the last episode, when we have Plo Koon and Anakin together, and he's challenging Anakin, but in a positive way. Is Ahsoka good enough? And we see this all the time, and Anakin always takes it the wrong way. And we don't see a huge reaction from Anakin. We get a little one, but he says if you've done your job, she will be fine. Because both Plo Koon and Mace Windu have all the faith in the world in Anakin, but they don't want to give him the easy path because they know where that path lies. And I think Ahsoka has a very different way of going about that, but she definitely got these kids that are around her age, I believe.
Yes, they're a little younger than her, but
and it does show she is learning the lessons from her Jedi masters, and she's able to translate that into the younglings, and they get hope. The theme of Star Wars is hope, and they get hope through Ahsoka, and it allows them to take on the Trandoshan ship, which is a super cool ship, by the way. I don't know if anyone has notes on this. That ship is awesome looking. I think that is one of the cooler ships.
I think it's one of the only. I think it's one of the ships that is only used once.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Yeah, and
another thing.
I was gonna say, I was going off of what Chase said. Chase, that was a good thing that you pointed out about how they are regaining hope, because as I mentioned earlier, that they said that hope is a dangerous thing to have, and Ahsoka is that missing link. So her being that inspiration for them to, go and take them on without having any fear at all is what Star Wars is all about. It's about having hope when there is none. So
On the contrary to cool looking ships, the Trandoshan buggies, I'm gonna call them a buggy,
Yeah, that's fair.
that
I
they
would say that's a
that they
good
fly through the
comparison.
jungle is like a bumper car.
That's
It is a literal bumper car with a smiley face on the front.
that's not a bad comparison, Carter.
It is.
Not a bad comparison at all. It's good. But no, yeah, like the way that they're able to, and I mean, Ahsoka struggles a little bit inside on her part, but I mean, after she kicks the guy through the window, I was like, yep, that one's pretty much over. And then they all, I think they all, I remember if I'm remembering correctly, they all meet in the middle, and they all hit the escape before they leave. They all land, and they're not sure if anybody has survived until we hear the Wookiee cry. And who shows up? Chewbacca.
Thank
None
God
other than
Chewie survived.
the
Never
Thank
heard of
Chewbacca.
The Chewbacca.
God Chewie survived. If Chewie doesn't survive that crash, though,
Everything changes. Everything changes. He doesn't
Everything
get-
Well,
Yeah.
hey, this show was released in March of 2011. He's been around since May of 77, so
Yeah.
either way, he's gonna survive.
survive. Yeah, but this is actually in the canon timeline. This is the first ever canon appearance of Chewbacca. Believe it or not.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Yeah,
in the canon timeline. Yep,
that
this
would
is
track.
the first. This is the first ever canon mention. Well, canon
Yeah,
appearance
in
of
20
Chewbacca.
BBY.
Yep, in 20 BBY. So we get a little background. Like they're like, oh wow, it's a Wookiee. Like this is perfect. In this, especially in this episode, we get the backstory of like why Trandoshans and Wookiees hate each other. What are your guys' thoughts, and what kind of relationship in the real world do you think this compares to?
Me and you.
Wait, what? We don't like each other?
Me and you.
What are you talking about?
Jeez, you have bad blood, with Luke.
Just kidding. I just want to
Wow.
rip your arms off all the time. It's fine.
No, see,
You're welcome back.
so like I love Wookiees. We did a D&D in the Discord server, and I was a Jedi Wookiee because I'm like, okay, it's like a big deal to be a Jedi Wookiee. There's not a whole lot of them, and in like the
How come
Wookiee
I'm
culture,
This would be kind of a big deal around
yeah,
here.
I'm kind of a big
I'm
deal.
a big deal in the resistance.
I'm the big deal. Yeah, exactly. But like, it's so like Wookiees are so interesting. They're such an interesting species, and like I don't know. They're furry. They're like a dog. You're just like, yes, I want to hug you.
Well,
And the dog
Chewbacca
ripped your head
was
off.
inspired after
Yeah,
George
yeah.
Lucas's dog, so
Yeah.
it's like it's like that furry co-pilot that
Well,
that you always wanted.
if
Yeah.
you rearrange the syllables of Wookiee, you know what you get?
What?
Ewok.
Oh.
You see, in the
That's why.
initial script for Return of the Jedi, Lucas wanted like a Wookiee uprising, but
Yeah.
he saved that up until Revenge of the Sith, of course.
Which was pretty well done.
But they changed it to Ewoks. But
Yeah, it was.
hey,
It was.
don't talk crap about Ewoks. Ewoks are menacing.
I was not talking crap about Ewoks. I love
I know.
Ewoks.
I
If
know.
you guys
I'm
ever
just letting
talk
everyone know.
about, if you're talking about Return of the Jedi, I will talk all the crap on Ewoks.
Oh, good God. Here we go.
Okay.
The Ewoks
imagine
almost
a
cooked all of our main
miniature
characters
bear.
alive.
Imagine a 3.5-foot bear that is smart enough to lay booby traps and can communicate with one another and build stuff.
Like Chase,
That
you played
is-
Ewok Hunt. Come on.
That
Yeah.
is dangerous. That is extremely dangerous.
That's like basically me when I just need a haircut.
That's awesome.
I think this is, maybe, pardon me if I'm jumping too far ahead. I think that this episode adds more weight to the scene in the Cantina Book of Boba Fett.
Yes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
absolutely
when
it does.
Chrysanthemum, when we do get the Wookiee ripping the arms off, we get Chrysanthemum doing that to a Trandoshan. Basically, he's just sitting there watching Trandoshans and being like, I hate those guys.
Yeah, when Luke and I were watching that, we were like, rip it off.
Rip it off.
But I
Rip
didn't really
it
feel
off.
too bad because Trandoshans do grow back their limbs very
Like, I
similar to what
Like, it's like,
happens in the High Republic. But I'm not gonna.
can I please get like I love this rivalry because it's just like they have been sworn enemies from day one, and it's just like they absolutely are like hate each other, and it's
Can
just
we-
fantastic.
Even
Can
before the
we
Empire.
please-
Yep.
Can we please get a star-crossed lover Trandoshan Wookiee fanfic
I'll write it.
Mhm.
Alanis, not a
Montgomery-
Kyber.
where you insert Luke
Yeah, I see
as the
Montgomery's
middleman?
chat. She's yes, the word Ewok is never said in Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
Self-insert fanfic.
Most things
I'm
in the
on
original
it.
trilogy aren't said.
Ewok and Luke. I meant
Oh
Met
man, it's gone.
Wookiee-
We have gone too far this
love
time.
triangle.
The thruple of Luke Skywalker,
Self-insert fanfic
Chewbacca,
between
and the
a
main
Wookiee, a
the main,
Trandoshan, and
main
then
Ewok.
Luke.
Oh my God, what have we done?
Hold on, let
What
me
have
pull up.
What
Let me
have I
pull
done?
up Google Docs and get to work.
Oh God, oh God. No, but what were your guys' thoughts on the discussion of between Chewbacca and the younglings and Ahsoka kind of explaining like what type of like the culture and the vibe between the Trandoshans and the Wookiees?
I think they got lucky with getting
Oh yeah.
Chewbacca.
Oh, for sure.
Because they were not going to make it off without Chewbacca. I mean, him knowing how to build the signal, or whatever that thing was called,
The
yeah.
game changing. That was game changing, or else
The
they were going to be
transmitter,
stuck
the
there.
Yeah, transmitter. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And again, I think something that's interesting as the arc goes along, and I think Chase was saying about stakes earlier, and like this is like an arc that you can tell like there's a lot of stakes here because like you don't really know what's going to happen. Is like you see Ahsoka when she first arrives and she looks fine. Then like by the time we're around this part of the episode, she's all muddy and dusty and dirty. So I think that's another a really nice touch that they did to her. But yeah, I think they got lucky with Chewbacca.
Oh yeah. Anybody else's thoughts on the Wookiee Trandoshan relationship?
I can't stop thinking about the fan fiction idea. So
Oh God.
the jury's kind of out for that one. It's gonna be in my mind for the next week.
Pod One's podcast gets their first fanfic. It's not the one that we wanted.
There is.
So as we were talking, they go back to the wreckage of the ship. And Chewbacca is able to grab parts from the down transport. And he's able to make a transmitter to contact Kashyyyk. But the younglings are very like weary, like, oh, that's not gonna work. That thing just isn't going. That's not gonna work. And Ahsoka is able to kind of get them into the mindset of like, hey, like, let's use Chewbacca. He's here. Like, we've got a Wookiee on our side. That's gotta mean something. Yes, the transmitter doesn't work right away. But before they leave the hut, they do turn it on, and it does end up finding a signal. Chewie in this episode, like when they go out and they get the plan, they're gonna mind trick a Trandoshan so that they can attack the main ship. And like I thought it was so interesting to see like younglings try to use the mind trick, because like when it's so interesting because it's like you know that they can't do it, but they're gonna try it anyway. And Trandoshans are actually like really susceptible to mind tricks. So you think it would work the first time, but they had to have a little help from Chewie. What were you guys' thoughts on that whole exchange?
Bunch of Mary Sues.
Yeah,
I didn't get a full background story of how they learned to use the mind trick, so it's just terrible writing, terrible planning.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
No, I think it's cool. I think seeing kind of even diving into like that aspect of it is just seeing that different people within the Jedi Order grow differently. They learn different things, and they struggle. Certain people at certain ages struggle with certain things. Kind of in the real world. Like, hey, some kids are really good at math and some kids are really good at history. And we see this within the Jedi Order is like we do see kids that do have those abilities where they learn the mind trick earlier, and these kids did struggle with it a little bit. And I think it's always cool just to see where everyone is at. And we see this much later in the series with like the youngling arc.
Yes.
See where everyone is on a different level, but everyone has strengths and weaknesses. And I think this is another good like little hint at that I do love seeing in Star Wars.
Yeah, Carter.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. The one thing that I was like, was that Ahsoka was so big on like not giving into the dark side, and I feel like this was kind of a bit tampering with like kind of being bad, like but and again, it's like a life or death type of thing. So it's cool to see younglings learn and trial and failure and go through progressions on how they can do this to the Trandoshan. It's very interesting, and it took them a Chewbacca smack in the head to be able to do it. So that was funny.
Nidra teaching our viewers, if you present a fake ID, a bad fake ID with a lot of confidence, you can trick an otherwise smart bartender. God. So I mean, if you have confidence in it, you can trick anybody. Shannon, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, really, just fake until you make it. That's kind of what I do all the time. It's like improvising usually works, but it also makes me wonder. The mind tricks make me wonder how long they've been there. Did they say how long they've been there?
They said that they were there for a couple of rotations, which would amount to, so like a rotation is like a day, I believe, in Star Wars, if I remember correctly. I think they said 3 rotations, so 3 days.
Are you sure
Wow,
rotation's
really
a day?
been there
That
for
seems
that
awfully
long.
short.
Or is a rotation a week?
It's probably a week, because let me look it up. Because 3 days doesn't seem that long.
That's true, and it
Depending
feels.
on how they use it, that could be a year as well.
Yeah,
Oh, that is true.
this is rotate around the sun.
But they do
Oh, wait.
say later. They say in the Clone Wars in season 7, in the Martez, that they have 1 rotation to get back. So
so it is a day.
Day or a week.
1 day was the amount of time it took for a planet to make 1 complete rotation on its polar axis. 24 hours was considered to be a standard day. From StarWarsFandom.com.
Interesting.
So they were only there for 3 days.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, they were only there for 3 days, and they made it seem like it was so much longer.
Well, I mean, it also could be 3 rotations, could be forever. I mean, not every planet it has like the same kind of access and fast. I'm getting into things that I know nothing about. But yeah, like they've been there for a little bit. I think more like 3 rotations might be like 3 weeks. I think that's more believable.
Yeah.
Or even 3 months.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah, I think if I was a Jedi and I was stuck somewhere without my lightsaber, I'd put a little bit more energy into like using the Force.
Be like, dang it, I should have listened to Master Yoda and not done so much lightsaber things.
Yeah.
So back at the transmitter, it ends up getting a hold of the other Wookiees. We also get the plan full in motion. Ahsoka, Chewbacca, and the Twi'lek apprentice managed to get on top of the main ship. Everything looks dull, and they put up a good fight up until the Trandoshans are able to get the upper hand. But then we get more Wookiees. And they have they bring in the bounty hunter Sugi and the gang from the bounty hunters.
Which was cool. I had no idea Sugi was with them. I was like, where did she come from?
Yeah. Sugi comes in, and we see Tarful, and a couple of other Wookiees that we have seen. And Trandoshans are the Trandoshans, like comparing Wookiees and Trandoshans, Wookiees always win.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
I don't know about that. You see
bro.
all the slaves they got? You really gonna tell me that
Yeah,
they
because
win
the
every time?
well, here's the thing. The Trandoshans are ruthless like that, and also the reason why the Wookiee rivalry got so heated is because the Trandoshans allied with the Empire, and the Empire enslaved the Wookiees. So basically, it was like a fun and games for the Trandoshans, but it was never like that for the Wookiees.
No, yeah, absolutely. So as the other Wookiees are helping out, it gives Ahsoka a chance to get up to the top and fight the father of the Trandoshan that she had killed. Here's my question. Like throughout this entire fight, she is using a lot of her instincts, her Jedi instincts. How do you think the battle experience helped her in defeating the head Trandoshan? And would she have beaten him at all without that battle experience?
No, not at all. I mean,
No.
like she's I think what's interesting about Ahsoka, I think this is the first time I've been on this podcast where I actually was involved with an Ahsoka arc. So it's
Yes.
interesting to talk about it. I think what Ahsoka does throughout this series is she proves that she's very capable outside of being a Jedi.
Mhm.
But I think this alone, it does show like Anakin is the one who's training her. Very much like it's had her master been a random other person, like, well, I think she would have probably gone about the other way. She would have probably been more passive in this scene, where she's very aggressive in this scene, fighting the Trandoshan, and that very much comes from Anakin, I think.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I think one of the greatest things about Ahsoka is how resourceful, how smart, and how insightful she is outside of that Jedi teaching.
No, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Anybody else got anything to add with the question? If her battle experience gave her an edge up, anything
Oh,
like that?
for sure. I don't even think that's a question.
Oh, now we got cats everywhere.
Yeah.
Shannon, your thoughts on the fight?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with everything that's been said, basically.
And yeah, and here's the thing too, like in the great words of Captain Rec, experience outranks everything. And she has seen a lot of it. So her
That's actually
being
a really good quote.
yeah, and that really, goes full circle when it comes to this part of Ahsoka's character. Is that it doesn't matter who you are, depending on what you've been through, what you've seen, and what you've done. This should be a lot easier than if you were a youngling like them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She ends up like even trying to like get the Trandoshan to like not kill her throughout it, and then even at the end she like moves out of the way and he just falls off and dies, which I mean it is very much Obi-Wan-esque in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So then the Wookiees are able to return to Coruscant, and Anakin feels that he is responsible for Ahsoka's capture. They have a nice little back and forth where Ahsoka tells him that his training is what allowed her to survive, and gave her leadership to help the younglings survive through the ordeal. The episode ends with Yoda looking at Ahsoka and Anakin walking away, and he's next to Wookiees because good relations he has with the Wookiees. And that is the end of the Ahsoka Lost arc. Char, three interesting facts, my guy.
All right. 3 interesting facts about a certain Clone Wars arc that you didn't know about until now. Part 19, the Trandoshan Arc Edition. Fact 1, a G.I. Joe reference. The Trandoshan hunting pods are inspired by the classic Cobra Trouble Bubble flight pod toy from the G.I. Joe toy line. So yes, Carter, that is where
I was
the
I
hunting
was
pods
trying
come
to
from.
say those things looked cool. The ones with the big Gatling guns on front.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those things are cool.
They're
Fact
bumper
2.
cars.
Fact 2. Kashyyyk's location in the galaxy. When Chewbacca says his homeworld is very close, he wasn't kidding. In the Star Wars galaxy, Kashyyyk and Trandosha are in the same star system. Fact 3. The Trandoshan character inspirations. Many of the background Trandoshan characters in this arc have interesting sources for their unspoken names. Guilus is named after the Godzilla monster Anguirus. Ratter is named after a rattlesnake. Some are even named after famous fictional reptiles. Goron is named after Gorn from Star Trek. Lagon is named after the creature from the Black Lagoon. Smug is named after Smaug, the dragon from The Hobbit. Lastly, Rami is named after Mary Franklin, an editor of the Star Wars newsletter Bantha Tracks. And there you have it. Those are the 3
Nice.
interesting facts about the Trandoshan arc.
There you go.
And also, Mary Franklin is a big Trandoshan fan too. So
There you go. There you go.
One Trandoshan we
Sorry.
totally forgot about was Risk from Star Wars Squadrons. who's
Yes.
the bloodthirsty rebel pilot that is like, oh yeah, we're gonna go kill some Imperials. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
No, yeah,
So-
absolutely.
It's been a minute since I saw, like, I mean, actually, no, because I did watch the Clone Wars this summer, like August, October-ish. I recently read Aftermath, and I was like, is that Bounty Hunter
Great
Jazzy
trilogy.
Mari?
yeah,
But
that
then I
is-
was like, no, it's
nah,
not.
it's her. It's her niece.
Oh,
Jasamari is Sugi's niece.
okay. I like that. I actually like that. Oh,
This is getting out of hand. Now there were 2 of them.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, now there's just one.
I actually really like that. That's actually
Yeah,
really cool.
I loved like that's the best part about Star Wars. It's like the continuity, and that there's characters that like, oh, I'm from this character that wasn't really too major in this series, but you know, if you remember me, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Like no one ever thinks about Lumpawaru other than he's Chewie's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about Lumpy every day.
Yeah, you.
Oh, do
holiday
you?
special loving boy?
Do you though? Do
I love
you?
the holiday special?
Oh.
Why don't we watch that when we go to the celebration?
Oh yeah.
That would.
That's,
think
that's
my
what we're
uncle
getting a
ran over
movie
this-
theater for, is to watch the holiday special.
Oh, good God.
Worth the
My
money.
uncle at Christmas this year goes, in the honor of Christmas, let's watch the holiday special.
Great idea. Fantastic.
Everyone
Hero.
besides
Sounds awesome.
Chase.
I was like, no, and
is-
he's like, oh yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, no.
Nidra celebration plans. Yes. Yes. We are going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff for celebration. We still haven't ironed out a whole lot of things. There are some possibilities that we will talk about and inform you guys a little bit later on, but we will definitely need to link up with you, Nidra.
Is Nidra going to celebration?
Yeah, she's going to all 4 days, I believe. If I
Shannon,
remember correctly.
Shannon,
So,
how do I point? Are you
There's
going
more
to
of us.
celebration?
Shannon, are you going to celebration?
I'm not.
Ah,
Dang, you can just
We have a
you-
whole
you-
military.
yeah,
coming
we've
to
got
celebration.
we've got
We have,
a
like,
whole squad of going.
We
and,
have a Discord server of
Yeah, I
people
definitely
that are
plan
going to
on burying
celebration.
myself alive on that day. So
So yeah, you I mean, if you don't if you have FOMO, like you can just look at all of our TikToks and just you'll be there with us. You'll be there in spirit. So that's a plus.
with a box of tissues next to me.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna be brave enough to live stream all 4 days on TikTok?
Ooh, not
Even
me.
even sleeping.
Ugh,
I got it.
Okay, Carter's got it.
Love
But
it.
guys, episode rankings. For those that have joined us for the first time, thank you. We always rank the arc or episode that we are talking about. Youngling bad, Padawan okay, Jedi Knight good, Jedi Master great, and Grandmaster Chef's kiss. I'm gonna start with Chase. What is your ranking?
Jedi Master. I really like this arc. I like that it shows how much and I'll just use like my own personal experiences. Like this is the season that I started getting into the Clone Wars. Like season 1 and 2 like really didn't do it for me. I tried watching season 1 countless amount of times and it took forever to get through it. This was the season that I was like, okay, I see where everyone's coming from. And this is where we start to see all of the stuff we've seen from season 1 and season 2 and the parts of season 3 with Ahsoka all coming together. And we see just like how much she's learned and how much she's able to use this and pass it on to other people, even though she's just a Padawan. So Jedi Master on this one.
No, yeah, absolutely. And everybody in the chat, give us your ranking for the episode. Carter?
I'm gonna
Alright,
also go Jedi Master, and I think this needs to be brought up in the conversation with the best arcs. I really like this arc. I think like
Interesting.
we always talk about, I don't know, when I think of Clone Wars, I just think of like Mortis, Five's arc. I don't think it's quite there with like Siege of Mandalore necessarily.
And it's
But
no
I
D
think-
Squad.
I'm
Wow.
Colonel Bieber Gascon.
Meeber Gascon.
Best arc.
But yeah, I think it deserves to be in the conversation.
So
with,
Chase, I'm
like,
assuming that you will
top
be coming
five.
for the D Squad arc.
I've got a PowerPoint ready for it, baby.
So also we will be having Xanthi on Star Wars Music Minute.
Oh,
She loves that arc, or they love that arc. They will be on for that episode. So I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Anthony, myself, and Scholar on that.
Yes, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
3 hours.
Shannon, your ranking of the arc. Can you hear me?
Are you alive?
is she all right?
Sorry,
She said
my
if-
internet keeps cutting out.
No, you're fine. What was your
With that
ranking of the arc?
Okay, I think I would probably agree with the majority and say Jedi Master because I really like the symbolism. I feel like there's a lot of like, well, maybe not symbolism, but the way that things are connected and like Plo's wisdom, I really like towards Anakin and the way that Anakin kind of lets Ahsoka deal with this whole thing by herself and the way that it helps evolve a lot of Ahsoka's character. And I can only imagine how being hunted down in that kind of situation like aids her after the execution of Order 66. So
Ooh,
yeah, I think it was really good. I really like the part where I think Anakin says no one has her kind of determination, and then Plo Koon says except you. And I think that that's a really good summation of like what they're trying to say there with Ahsoka acting so much in Anakin's image as being someone who was trained by Anne. Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. Char, what would your ranking be?
I'm right with you guys. I think it's a Jedi Master just because of the fact that Ahsoka, her growth at this point has been so well done, and I just love seeing moments where where Anakin is fearing for her life because he always has this self-conflict within him that if she gets hurt, then it's his burden. But Plo, the Jedi Master that brought Ahsoka into the Order, tells him, if you were a good enough master, she'll be fine on her own, and she was, proving give Anakin a little bit of relief that he did a very good job with training her. And it displays that she can hold her own, whether it's against a whole army of Trandoshans or she is in the middle of a war. So, I said this is a Jedi Master. Or Jedi
No,
Master.
yeah, I'm gonna say Jedi Master as well. I like how they show the resourcefulness. I mean, anything with Chewie is gonna get a high ranking for me because
All of you Wookiee fans out there.
I love the Wookiees. Me and Nitra, Wookiee strong for sure. But that is it for the arc. Let's get into Star Wars news. All right. Man, we just keep losing Shannon. It'll be okay. She'll pop right back. But what we've got on the docket, something kind of dropped just non-expectedly today. We got our first look at Shadows of the Sith, which is going to be the book that it takes place in between episode 6 and 7. Did everybody get a good chance to read over the excerpt?
No, I don't like reading excerpts.
Yeah, I'm not an excerpt type of person, but I did look at the cover and I really enjoy the cover.
Okay, I will bring up the cover. I will not. The excerpt is fantastic, It gets me really excited for this show, or not show, but this
Novel.
this book. But here, hold on, let me share my screen.
Yeah, I read the excerpt on Twitter, and man, this book has gotten people very excited to read. And then, especially if you're a Lando fan and learning about what he said in episode 9 about how him and Luke were
Yes.
hunting after Ochi Bastum, looking for the Wayfinder. And it's like
Yes.
you're going to learn about that and more from this book. And this book comes out when? Comes out summer?
July.
July.
So we'll probably hear more things about it at Celebration, believe it or not.
Oh, 100%.
So was because Ochi's wielding a lightsaber?
That's not Ochi.
Yeah, that's
That's
different.
not Ochi. That's not Ochi.
That's Lumpy.
That's possibly Snoke.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
oh shoot!
Yeah. So what are your guys' thoughts on the cover?
Oh
If you read the excerpt, I guess if we don't want to spoil it for the other two, but it's pretty great. If you haven't read the excerpt and you don't care about excerpts, like, it's only a small section of the book, so I mean it's not really that huge of a deal. But we're gonna respect people's wishes. But thoughts on the cover? It honestly looks like it could be like a cover for a show.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I love this cover. I'm not familiar with the author or if they've done anything outside of Star Wars.
I don't know Adam Christopher. Let me see Adam Christopher. I think this is his first ever Star Wars publication.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I think it is too.
So as someone who grew up with the expanded universe, I became very, very tired of the Luke and Lando books because they're, no offense to anyone who really does love them, they're not the best books from the expanded universe. I think, like, I just finished rereading Rogue Squadron today. Still hasn't aged well, but still a really good book. But this makes me excited because I think everything they've done so far, like if you read like Bloodlines and Catalyst, like the books that revolve around the movie characters, all the books they've done so far are really good, and I think don't turn the main characters into comic book heroes, which is what the expanded universe did.
Yes.
Like to like I'd say a cringy point. So I'm excited to read this book because I want to see where they take Luke and Lando, because they were always caricatured of themselves in the old books, and so I want to see how this book turns out, because the vibe check of the new Star Wars books is so different from what.
Yeah, and Adam Christopher, the author of this book, just like Mike Chen, this is their first ever Star Wars book.
Yes.
So I have high hopes for Shadow of the Sith and Brotherhood. So they could be very good books coming this summer. I'm excited for them. For sure.
I love Claudia Gray, I love James Luceno, and I love Timothy Zahn, but I love seeing new faces writing books.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's still an expanded universe book, but the two authors that wrote the Expanse series, they wrote a Han Solo book right before Disney bought Star Wars that I want to grab hold of, because they're really good at writing and they're really descriptive. So I want to see what they've done. And it's like just those fresh authors in Star Wars are always great to see.
Well, yeah. Carter, your thoughts?
I'm really excited. I hope we get a lot of Lando and Luke chapters, but I also hope we get a lot of Ochi and, I guess, Snoke chapters, because I've said this a lot before, that like the Palpatine contingency plan is there. It's there in a ton of different novels. It's there. We see it, hints in Bad Batch, hints in Mando, hints in Aftermath. From what I've heard, a little bit of hints in Tarkin.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Battlefront 2. Like we're getting these hints everywhere. And I really hope that this book, with some excerpts with Ochi and Snoke, It's them maybe explaining and ironing out the plan. I think that would really be cool, and I think this could potentially be the place where that happens, which would shut a lot of people up.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
would, because
it
it's
would.
there. It's just people being lazy, and they want it right in front of them. So if it's here in this book, like his plan from beginning would be really, really cool, and I'd really appreciate that.
You should read Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah, Alphabet Squadron.
And yeah.
Shannon, your thoughts on the cover? Did you happen to read the excerpt?
I didn't read the excerpt, but I'm really excited to like read anything in the vein of like Star Wars novels, because I just recently actually got into that like 2 months ago. Starting with
Nice.
the High Republic, and I'm really excited for Brotherhood, and I'm going through Thrawn right now. And the
nice.
cover looks absolutely amazing. It's like very poster-esque, very like aesthetically pleasing.
No, yeah.
So I think it looks great.
No, yeah, and talking about books. Oh man, books. If I had to recommend any canon books, these are the top canon books in my opinion. Not excluding what you have read for Thrawn and High Republic wise. Read the Queen's trilogy. Queen's Hope.
Read Lost Stars.
And Lost Stars. Queen's Hope drops next or 2 weeks from now. Is it 2 weeks or a week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. Go get that freaking book. Me and Char had the pleasure of getting that book early.
Damn, do I not either?
And well, and They Fly Now also got it as well. And that book is freaking fantastic. I loved it so much. It gave so much backstory for both Padme, the relationship between Padme, Anakin, and like Sabe, that they're fleshing out in the Vader comics and in the War of the Bounty Hunters as well. So I would say those. Underrated ones, Tarkin, Lords of the Sith. Everybody hates Lords of the Sith, but I really love Vader and Anakin's character. So if you're like into that, that's a really good one.
Bloodline.
Bloodline is also
Lost
very
Stars.
good. Lost Stars.
Dark Disciple.
Dark Disciple is really, really good if you're into Clone Wars as well. But like,
How much of the High Republic have you read?
Me, I read most of the High Republic. I read the 3 adult novels. I think I have like most of the young adult novels, but I'm still going through them. And then I've read all the comics.
Nice. So you're pretty much caught up. So
Yeah.
that's good. We also, for news, so Deborah Chow was asked about Vader's involvement in Kenobi. And she had some interesting things to say. Basically, like, hey, like early on, it was like the plan was that we didn't know what to do with him, but like he was always in the background. What are everybody's thoughts on what we will see from Vader? And will we see him in episode 1 of Kenobi, or will we see him towards like maybe the end of episode 3?
I think there's a good chance we will see Vader in episode 1. We will not see Obi-Wan and Vader together until this season. I think we will have like the Inquisitors answering to Vader, early on. I don't think we're going to get like a hallway scene reveal type thing. I think he will be a significant character. But yeah, I think they will save their first interaction together for later in the show. But I think maybe even like towards the end of that first episode, I think maybe we just get the breath.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're gonna kill Commander Cody in this show.
Ooh.
I think
wow.
they're gonna, when they realize Obi-Wan's alive, they're gonna kill Commander Cody for failing.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a really good thing. Not really good thing, but like that's really interesting. Shannon, what are your thoughts? Vader, Kenobi, what do you think we'll see? Oh man, and she Your internet's cutting out. Carter, what are your thoughts?
My dream for I think this could be in episode 1. My dream introduction of Vader would be the Inquisitor kneeling down to him as the same way he does in Rebels. That would be incredible. If we see that live action, the Inquisitor kneeling down to a hologram of Darth Vader telling him that Kenobi's alive or something, like, it would be incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could see him in episode 1. I think that's just kind of like, I don't know.
Shannon, what are your thoughts on Obi-Wan?
Sorry, my internet's
and
definitely
Vader?
not trying to work right now.
No, it's all good.
I'm trying not to hold too many expectations. I think that that's what a lot of fans do, is that they like have a lot of expectations for things. So I'm just gonna be happy if Kenobi's in the show and if Vader's in the show. But I hope that all of the rumors are true about it. I hope that like this is a different like level to Vader that we'll see with like his anger and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm hopeful for it, but I'm definitely not getting my hopes up about anything.
Yep. Two more things. Reports have come out that we might see our first glimpses of Jedi Fallen Order 2 at Celebration. Will we see a trailer, and who will be the big bad in the story? Open
Darth
floor.
Maul.
Yeah,
and
I was gonna think Darth Maul.
Darth Maul and Kira,
Ooh.
and we'll see a trailer at Celebration. I think that's what makes sense. I think there's a lot of things that like we could potentially see at Celebration just because like there's a lot of stuff releasing, but I think that would be the one that would make a lot of sense, would be to do a Fallen Order trailer at Celebration.
Yeah.
Darth Maul, or continuing on with what they did, is just kind of introducing like a new I know the Inquisitors were not new when Fallen Order came out, but kind of like fleshing out a character that we don't know.
Yeah. Well, you could see Reva, maybe from Kenobi. She ends up surviving Kenobi.
Reva McEntire. She's a single mom who works 2 jobs.
Perhaps.
Most
No.
ambitious
Single
Rob
mom
ever.
works
Yeah,
two
she's an entertainer and an Inquisitor. You know.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for that. I have a prediction also for Kenobi. I think Cal Kestis will be in Kenobi, and I think that the actor is in the right age group still to be there. I think with what they did with Book of Boba Fett, and they brought in all these characters, and they did such a good job with bringing in those characters. Where even if you look at Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, right, you didn't need to watch the Clone Wars to understand like who Ahsoka is in the scope of the galaxy. You didn't need to know anything about Afra or the War of the Bounty Hunters to understand who Chrysanthemum is. You didn't need to watch the Clone Wars to understand that Cad Bane's a badass and people are scared of him.
Yeah.
So I think they can introduce someone like Cal Kestis into Obi-Wan and basically say like, I can help you, or you can help me in one way or another, and we can pick. I've been fighting the Inquisitors for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work together. I think we'll see him, and again, the guy looks like Cal Kestis. They just used his face.
Yeah. Definitely. That's interesting. Shannon, your thoughts on Jedi Fallen Order 2 getting a glimpse? What do we think?
I'm actually not very familiar with the Fallen Order, so I don't.
There you go.
But
there you go. That's hey, it's a great story. If you're not a gamer, at least watch the game, the playthrough. It's such a good story. Such a good story.
Yeah,
and then finally,
terrible games.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. I know Brooke B _ Dazzler did a Twitch. She did a whole playthrough on her Twitch. So if you want to go back and watch that, that definitely go do that. We get Lego Star Wars in 2 weeks. Skywalker Saga after waiting 2.5 years. We are all excited for that. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, no Rebels though, which it's a thumbs down for me. But
I'm not a Lego person. I'm sorry, Luke.
Dude, it's gonna be so much fun. I played Lego Star Wars from like the very beginning, so it's kind of like nostalgic thing for me. But
I did.
No Rebels DLC.
you don't know that. We there
Yes,
could be
we do know
more.
that. They announced all the DLCs.
Well, they could always make more if they wanted to.
They can have my wallet if they do.
Oh well, you're gonna be buying the game anyways. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Nidra, Montgomery, Kieran, Chris, Star Wars lawyer. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to all of my guests. Shannon will probably pop back in here to get her socials. Carter, where can the good people find you?
Find me on TikTok at Car2D2. You can find me on the They Fly Now show at They Fly Now show on YouTube. We're live every Monday talking about different Star Wars topics. So, yep, that's about it.
Shannon, I'm gonna go with you next, just in case you fly out again. Where can the
Yeah.
good people follow you?
So I'm on TikTok only. I'm at DarthKiss. That's basically the only place that you can find me.
Again, thank you for coming on. I hope you had a whole bunch of fun. We
did. Thank
definitely
you so much for having
enjoyed.
me.
No, yeah, absolutely. Chase, where can the good people follow you?
You can find me on TikTok.com at forwardintotheblack. You can find me on Twitch at Forward Into the Black, where we will host Rogue Council, the podcast I host with my friend Roddy, as well as David or Xanatos1138. We'll be live Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the side characters of Star Wars. Hop on, and we will see most likely everyone who is here on Rogue Council at some point or another.
Heck yeah, absolutely. You guys can go follow Char J. The good people can go follow Char J at Char J on all of his socials. You can follow us at the Pod Ones Podcast on TikTok, Pod Ones Pod on Instagram, and Pod Ones Podcast on Twitter. Thank you all for coming. Again, like, comment, subscribe. If this is a replay, like that button. Get the stats going. If you're a newbie here, we appreciate it, and may the force be with you always.
And with you.